Hello, everyone, and welcome to Spotlight TV with your host, Scorpinosis Nightfire. Today we shine the light on ENT Talk Radio with Kaljah Chrome and Shane Foresight, as well as Crossing Cultures founder Chriscloud Leon, followed by someone known as quite the heart of music in both worlds, Gwampa Lomu. I am your announcer, Nani Zoo, and here is your host, Scorpinosis Nightfire.
All right, everyone, thank you so much. And Nani, thank you for a great introduction. And we want to welcome everybody to this special edition of Spotlight TV. And I think what you guys are going to see today is that I am incredibly excited about the guests that we have and the topic, because anything that just gets members, residents more active is a fantastic thing. So we are looking forward to just getting with the guests and covering some wonderful discussion topics. Now, I'm sure everybody here has just been completely amazed at some of the things that we see happening in the news. And one of the things that probably no one is missing is what's happening right now with some of the things in the U.S. Government. You know, it seems that we just really have an issue at the present time with just some of the basic things of getting along so that our processes are moving forward and that we're getting things done that are important to everybody. And I'm hoping that what we're going to see is we're going to see just a spirit of cooperation begin to sort of elevate itself above some of the politics and some of the infighting and bickering. Because one of the things that has been very important, I think, in getting any type of progress done, be it in business, be it in politics, be it in whatever we're dealing with, is just a spirit of cooperation. And that happens when people realize that their point of view is not the only point of view. And when we begin to sort of look at each other with a sense of value and realize that, hey, somebody who sees things differently than I do may have something to offer, and that maybe another perspective other than my own can really make things broader, more inclusive. So let's continue to be open, and as we're open, hopefully that will reflect upon those that we have in positions of governmental authority that we put in those positions, and that we'll see things getting done on a local level with everybody as well as on that national level. That's very important, even as it trickles down to what we're doing here. I think one of the other things that has happened is, I don't know how many people got the opportunity to catch the Grammy Awards, but there were some amazing performances this year. And I thought that this year's Grammy was more musical. There was a whole lot less talking and a lot of emphasis really, I think, being placed more upon the performances. And I don't know about you guys, but I like my Grammy moments to be these moments that are sort of iconic, where you get people together that normally you wouldn't see together, and you get these fabulous performances that you talk about for years. And a lot of that doesn't happen sometimes. So I thought that we had some stellar performances. I thought that Maroon 5 with Alicia Keys was just very interesting. And I think one of the exciting moments for me at the Grammys was when they began to acknowledge a group called Alabama Shakes. Now, I don't know how many people have had a chance to see these guys, but Nani and I were kind of talking about this. They're sort of a combination, and this will probably give my age away here, but they're sort of it's almost like emo Creedence Clearwater or emo Stones, if you can even put those two things together and get an idea of what I'm saying about these guys. But what stood out is that the group doesn't fit into this box that the music industry really laid out there for us on what it takes to be a pop star, or to make an entertainer that the public supposedly will accept and not accept. And I think the moral of that story is that we really can't allow people to define for us what's beautiful, what's not, what's hip, what's hot, what's not. We have to kind of come to those choices on our own. And I think a group like this that doesn't fit into that cookie cutter sort of box that they put out there is really making a statement visually beyond just the music. So very, very excited about that. And finally, the show we have for you. As Nani mentioned, we have some incredible guests that I cannot wait to dive into chatting with. So without any further ado, we're going to take a small pause for the calls, and we will be back with our guests right after these messages.
Expect the exceptional. Studios.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Now, our first guests are doing something that we have talked about happening here in SL for quite some time. So, of course, it's really exciting for us that we're actually getting a chance to see it happen. Our first guests are doing something called ENT Radio, and it's a 24/7 radio station where if you've ever had a dream of having your own radio show where you can demonstrate all of your creative talents and grow your own audience, well, now the opportunity exists. And here to talk about it with us is Kaljah Chrome and Shane Foresight. Guys, welcome to Spotlight TV.
Thank you.
Thanks,
it's a pleasure being here.
Well, now, Nani may have mentioned this. We talk about communication mediums all the time. And one of the things that we've been saying for a long time is it would be amazing if there was a radio format that allowed people some of the creative expression that SL has with designers and builders and all that. So what inspired you guys to create this format?
Well, thanks, Scorp. Well, one of the reasons, I guess, I go back just a little way, both Kaljah and I have been performing and in the media in one way or another in SL for a while. We've done things such as our own comedy shows. We've also done voice promotion work. But one of the things that we wanted to do was to create a radio station where not only we could, I guess, exhibit our own talents and creativeness, but allow other people also in SL to do the same. So we thought, what was the best outlet for that? And we thought that radio would be the best. So we've been planning this for a little while, and now it's come to fruition. And that's how it came about, really.
Well, now, there's a bunch of stations that, you know, play different type of music and do different things. So how did you guys get the idea, though, not to be just another station?
Well, one of the things that SL is great at, and you know we love SL. We've been here for a long time, both of us, is the fact that you can be creative in SL and show that creativeness. And one of the things that we wanted to do was, I guess, engage with people in SL to produce their own radio shows. The fact of the matter is that anybody can, with a stream, effectively create their own radio show. But what makes it different is to be able to cross-promote. So to promote each other's shows on the radio station is a really big aspect of it. The other aspect is what I call social programming. That is, we want to engage all of those different groups in SL everything from furries to vamps to any kind of interest group, whether it be in the lifestyle, BDSM, so on. It really doesn't matter. It can be absolutely anything that a person has a desire to do and put a format together, and we will, on our radio network, host that show for them. So we'll provide the facilities for that.
So it sounds like you guys recognize that while there's a whole lot of creative opportunity, there really wasn't a radio format that gave voice with a lot of diversity.
That's true, and as you said before, a lot of the radio that's around is mainly music. Whilst our station still caters for music, it also caters for a lot of other things. For instance, we have Ask a Submissive, which is a lifestyle-based show. We have our own show, which is a light talkback show where we receive calls from listeners in SL, and we also have a number of sponsors that we also promote on the show as well. The other thing is that Kaljah is very heavily into marketing and the management of the network. Perhaps you might want to say a few words, Kaljah.
Yes, thank you, Shane. I think the thing that makes us not only different and unique is the aspect of having audience participation. I think that's, one of the unique features. As you said, there are, hundreds of radio stations within SL. But, I think variety of, having music interspersed with comedy. We have live singers. We have talkback shows. We have people who, basically have designed new and interesting formats that I think people, the audience and listeners within SL will, have a little diversity, as well as supporting the community of people who are actually performing on the station.
And Scorp, I just want to mention this to you, that there's absolutely no cost in terms of lindens or anything else to any of our show hosts. It is totally free. All it takes is their time and commitment and passion to do it. And that's all that we ask for from them. We are a non-for-profit organisation. We make no money. We pay no money. We pay all the costs ourselves. And it's all in the interest of developing talent in SL.
One word for that, wow. And the reason I say that is because, and this is a great segue to where I was going, with you creating that type of availability, there's not going to be any shortage of people who have something that they want to say, and where your platform won't be something that's attractive to them. However, I understand that just because everyone has something to say or wants to say something doesn't mean that everyone should be allowed to say something, because maybe the content of their message is not appropriate, or it doesn't maybe work with the format. So that leads me to two things. First, how do you determine who gets a programming slot? What's the criteria? And then once that's determined, what's considered maybe not appropriate for the station's format?
Yeah, look, I can answer that. There's a process that we go through, and there's an application that gets filled in by a potential host of the show. They will go through the various aspects of their format that they'd like to do, the content and the basic nature of it. We'll interview them, we'll have a chat with them, we'll talk to them about it, get a little bit of an understanding of perhaps any previous experience. And on the basis of that, we make the judgment call as to whether it's acceptable or not. It's as simple as that. But what we don't want to do is necessarily censor what goes to air. We want it to be an open forum. Obviously, we take into consideration the TOS and the sensitivities of others. But obviously, overall, we want to make sure that it's a non-censored approach to media here in SL.
Very good. That makes perfect sense. Now, from that, if I wanted to, let's say, have a show called Sexy Cured Subway Sandwiches, is this sort of a is this sort of a mature format to where where your listeners, somebody's giving me a hard time about my example, I'm sorry. But I'm being a little on the silly side because I'm trying to gather from this question, is the format, you may have answered this kind of for me already, but is it a format where topics that may not fit in the PG range are covered as well as things that might fit in that range?
Yeah, any show format that may have sensitivities to listeners, there's usually a warning that we put on before the show starts, that this show may contain adult content. And as a result, just to warn them beforehand, and if they do not want to listen, then of course that's their decision to make.
Okay, very good, very good. And since you're not for profit, how does it work out if I am someone who wants to advertise and reach out to your audience, and when it comes to paying for that and that sort of thing?
Well, we again have a couple of different categories. We have the sponsors. Now, the sponsors are mainly clubs and sims and groups that are taking the stream onto their land and to their clubs. And on that basis, that given that they're doing that, then obviously we take no money for that. And on the other side, we promote them by providing them promotional media 24/7 on the network. That's that kind of arrangement. What we also have is a number of what we call programs. We have a program called Discover Me. This is a program for entertainers in SL, people who sing and perform. And we spotlight those, we interview them, and we play the interview and their music. And we have one of those each week. So we don't sort of promote necessarily products in terms of advertising, but we do focus on certain, I guess, socially interesting people and what they do in their cell.
Wow, that is awesome. Well, guys, stay with us just a bit longer. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come right back after these messages.
Pulse Television Network. Programming you can feel.
We are back. Now, right before the break, we kind of talked about how the station being not-for-profit actually works with sponsors and promotion. And Kaljah, can you follow up on that for us?
Yes, thank you, Scorp. I just wanted to stress that part of the success of doing any venture in SL relies on people letting other people know what's going on. So the cross-promotion is like a major component of helping everyone grow. So we encourage any DJ, for instance, who's playing will also do promos for other DJs. We've also encouraging people to join ENT SL Radio group. So, for instance, if you're a DJ and you have like 200 people on your list, you may think that's a great idea, but eventually, if you get your group to move into ENT Radio group, when you or another DJ is on and they've had their group join, you potentially have an audience, of a couple hundred people. So it's exponential. We also highlight stores or new locations. We've actually had hotspots, which have included a couple of stores and some clubs. So, and again, it's, as we all know, marketing in SL is a challenge. So we rely on each other to help actually grow this idea. We think it's worth giving it a shot.
Yeah, and the other key component, Scorp, is our website. Our website is full of information, including our on-air schedule and a lot of other information there for all of the listeners. And they can find the website very easily by going onto Google and just typing ENT SL Radio, as simple as that, and they'll find the website and other promotional information.
Well, guys, I have to tell you, we are thrilled that not only that you were willing to come on the show and, excuse me, and talk about this today, but that you're actually doing this. And will you please promise to come back, see us again, and keep us updated so that we can support ENT SL Radio?
We certainly will, and we also appreciate the opportunity. Thanks very much, Scott.
Thank you for having us today. It was a delight.
Thank you guys for coming. And we are going to be back with Chriscloud Loon from Crossing Cultures right after these messages. Thanks. All right, welcome back, everyone. Now, our second guest grew up in Romania and was touched with the vibrations of the Balkan and Gypsy music around him and is a lover of that pure music. He tries to bring the roots of any kind of music style to life and share this feeling of freedom here in SL and RL through events and private parties. And we are exceptionally excited to have our guest, Chriscloud Loon, with us. Chris from Crossing Cultures, welcome to Spotlight TV.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. And I'm really honored to be here. Thank you so much for that invite.
Well, now, Chris, tell us how you got started with Crossing Cultures.
Meaning the crossing culture is that world culture of all traditions and music all over the world. You can imagine like that kind of culture who is moving all around the world, growing up like a snowball. You know what I mean? Getting bigger and bigger with more information and more people and more I want to say perfection out there. And at the same time, bringing the roots of all kind of music and art this planet and share it to the new people, new generation on this beautiful world.
You know, Chris, it sounds like music is a very powerful force. Like it has the ability to do some amazing things. Is that what you're saying with all of this?
Well, I think everything started with sound and vibration, and this music all over the universe is just vibration.
You know, what's amazing is that what you're doing sounds like it's a perfect match with what we were just talking about with Kaljah and Shane, and that's basically taking what you're doing and having a way to just get more people informed. So let me ask you guys, isn't this the type of thing that the radio station is fantastic for in terms of helping people come in contact with?
Yes, this is a perfect example of one of the opportunities that we want to present to people and performers in SL. And another good thing is that, let's say that Chris is performing at a venue. Normally, people have to drop whatever they're doing and run over to wherever that particular sim is. Mm-hmm. And if it's full, they can't get in. It's a problem. The alternative for them is that they can actually listen through their web browser. so they don't even have to like stop what they're doing, and they can actually listen without having to physically go there.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much. And that's exactly what I wanted to know too and point out. Now, Chris, I want to ask you, how did your being a photographer, feeling like there's a healer and a prophet on the inside of you, how did all of that factor into what you're doing with Crossing Culture?
Well, we need to start with real life here. It's a part of my real life, doing it in my real life. And I found this, I want to say, fascinating world of Second Life, to get more people, to talk to more people, to bring more people together, to share so many things which I never can do in my real life, just because of time and distance, you know what I mean?
Right. And how did you actually find Second Life?
Well, it was a funny thing. I got my work. I got a friend of mine, and I'm actually the PC freak out there. And they told me, look at this, we found a new world out there, a virtual world, and well, I got a kind of book, some few letters about Second Life, and I thought, wow, let me try that. And well, actually, I started to make things, creating jewelry in shops and any kind of. I did a few weeks, and once I got a message about a blues concert. Actually, I'm a blues soul, and I found the blues in Second Life, and so I started to change everything. And starting first with the Blues Museum, we have a blues museum here in Second Life, and then once I got enough with blues, because I did everything what I can do for the blues scene in Second Life. So I started with Crossing Culture, and this is amazing. Well, we have no limits there.
Well, you know what? Here's something that I think is incredibly exciting about what you're doing, Chris. It amazes me. One of the things that happens in SL is that people who have been here for a long time tell me all the time, Scorp, I'm bored. There's nothing to do. I'm tired of shopping. I'm tired of going to the same club or just kind of standing around. I think when you don't see all of these possibilities and don't involve yourself in all of these things, you really miss how Second Life can just continue to be new and offer exciting things like you're doing, Chris, every single day. And I'm so glad that you are being just sharing all of these different things. Where can we see you perform at?
Well, we have good friends, beautiful people out there. Yeah, there is a sim in Second Life, and we have the home of Crossing Culture there. We have many venues, and actually there are everyday events, sessions. Well, I'm performing Saturdays night, and well, I'm there every Saturday night. Yes, doing all kind of world music, different music. Every Saturday night, another kind of music style. We take the blues, we take reggae, we take salsa, we take tango. So we don't do the same thing. We change to the music, to the world music every time.
Oh, all right, fantastic. Well, now, what would you say, Chris, to somebody who wants to get started and do what you're doing?
Well, there are so many ideas and possibilities, and so many friends doing great things in Second Life. So many musicians, artists, and I will take this person and just acting like a guide of Second Life, showing some beautiful places here and bring them people to a live show, to live concert. And I think people who are loving art and music, they will get in love with it.
Well, Chris, we're very excited about what you're doing. We would love to come support you and see some of your shows and help people realize that there's wonderful creative energy happening here with what you're doing, with what Shane and Kaljah are doing. And Chris, will you come back and perform for us next time?
One thing I must say before I start, it's very important. We founded this group and project 3 years ago. There was a Feed a Smile charity show in Second Life. I helped Rick out there with getting some money for the kids in Kenya. And after that show, there were 1 week, 7 days. After this show, I got this in my mind. We had so many people out there from over the world, and that was the idea. On the last night of the party, of the event, let's do something to keep these people together. And we just founded, well, I founded a group, and in the last night of the event, of the charity event, and I invited some friends out there, and so we got started, Crossing Culture. It was together with Feed a Smile charity, actually.
Well, I think that Breek is a very good friend of ours, and I'm even more excited to know that your project actually helps and has helped that project. So again, it would be fantastic to have you come back and perform for us and tell us more about Crossing Culture. Will you do that for us next time?
I will do it anytime. Just send me an invite. And it's an honor and a pleasure to share this. Really, it's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And we'll be back with our final guest after these messages.
Expect the exceptional. Studios. And we are live in 3, 2, 1.
Everybody, welcome back. Well, now our next guest had live shows and live performers that he's worked with and that he supported out of his own pocket, took donations, and basically helped launch SL careers here in music and performing. And now we're going to be talking to our new friend about Gwampa's Dance Camp. Please give a very warm Spotlight TV welcome to Gwampa Lomu. Gwampa, thank you for coming to Spotlight today.
My pleasure.
This is a very cool topic for me. I mean, this entire show, because it's been around entertaining, communicating, and music has been there. So you were a fantastic segue for it. So please tell me about the dance camp.
Well, I would tell you about the dance camp, but in limited time, I'm going to tell you about something else instead, which I think perhaps A, is more interesting, and B, probably most people don't know about.
Okay.
There are very, very many venues in SL, and I'm just one of the many ones. And as most people know, there are many cultures in SL, the fashion culture, etc., and the music culture. What I got involved with a little over 3 years ago is bridging real life and second life, what we call, affectionately, SL jams. And the brief 30,000-foot overview is we'll meet somewhere in a hotel, anywhere from 10 to 30 musicians, and 10 to 80 fans, and we'll start jamming Thursday night, and everybody goes home sometime around Sunday night.
Wow.
So to be in a little bit more detail, approximately every other month, about 6 or 8 times a year, more in the better weather, because there are too many places you don't want to go in the winter, although Germany just had a jam in January. That's their first jam. Somebody local will find a hotel that has a meeting room that we can more or less take over pretty much all the time, and that's amiable to having music going on there all hours of the day. musicians will show up, and what's the interesting part about it, for those who know about the music community, unless two people are in the same room, it's very tough to have more than one musician to play at once. There are some techniques, dual streaming and others, but generally you go to a venue in SL and you hear a musician. Then you go to another venue and hear a different musician. The advantage of the jam is you're sitting there, and there's, again, anywhere from 2 to 15 musicians on the stage at once, very impromptu, nothing scheduled, and you're sitting as fans about 5 feet away from them. So you're up close and personal, better than VIP seats at the best concert in town for the cost of a hotel room and a few dollars to help share the common expenses.
Wow. So if I'm understanding this correctly, and that was probably the fourth or fifth wow tonight because I'm really feeling these topics. If I'm understanding correctly, this is almost like a floating meet and greet where you get the opportunity to have an RL experience with maybe someone you've been enjoying in SL through these jams.
Absolutely correct. From the fans' point of view, it's great because you're up close and personal with your favorite musicians. From the musicians' point of view, they like to jam with other people. Most musicians play here for the love of music, not just for the money, the few lindens they're making.
And how many of these have you guys done so far?
Well, I can say I set the record of having attended most because, frankly, I'm trying to spend my kids' inheritance. So there's been, they started a little over 3 years ago. One musician invited a few people, half a dozen some musicians, to his house, and then it started to grow from there. So the first year there were 3 or 4. We're now at the point now where we need a Facebook calendar to make sure 2 people aren't going to have conflicting ones close together. There's probably been about 20 in the U.S. They're starting to start in other places also. London's going to have its second one. As I mentioned, Germany has just had its first. There's been 3 in Canada. But generally, average 8 to 10 a year. Name a state, and we've probably been in it, especially ones that have easy airports to get to. So Chicago a few times, Dallas. Just came back from the Tampa one in January, and living in Connecticut, I have to say, having to go to Tampa in January didn't really suck a lot. In April, there's going to be one in Baltimore. So they've been anywhere that's relatively easy to fly to.
Okay, and with these events, I mean, this is incredible because this is somewhat similar to something that we do in First Life, and how do if companies, let's say, want to become involved in helping these events take place, because maybe they want to put sponsorship support behind that, how would they go about that?
Well, we have had some Second Life companies, no real life ones yet, because again, they're small. I'll explain that in a moment. But we have had venues that want to promote or support it, where besides having a real life jam, we're all together in a room, we will simultaneously stream the music into SL. So there'll be a venue that'll have the music for 24 or 48 hours. And we'll also stream the video because while we see everybody's AVI in SL, it's sort of fun for people who aren't there to see what everybody who's attended looks like in real life. Sometimes a little scary, but we'll blur the lens if necessary. So we have had other or companies that have sponsored it. Mostly it's been venues or people in the music community. We try to keep it very low cost, low key. I mean, the expense really is splitting the cost of a meeting room. So generally, not counting meals, besides your hotel and your transportation that you're responsible for, it costs most people $10 to $30 to attend.
Gotcha. Okay. And with the upcoming calendar, where should we be looking for you in the weeks and months to come?
Well, as I just mentioned, Baltimore is in April. There's going to be Chicago in June, Dallas in October. These are the definite ones that have dates. I get fairly involved in most of them. Probably there's going to be one arranged in New England, but I'm waiting to see when there's between a month or two between other ones, because you don't want to have one right after another. It's too much of a good thing almost. Those are the definite ones planned. I think they're planning another San Diego one. I'm pretty sure Utah is going to have another one this summer. Nashville is doing every other year. They had one last year, so they won't do theirs again until next year. These are fairly well hidden. That's why I wanted to mention it. The people who know about it are part of a music group, if you're in a musicians group who happens to be attending one of these, they'll usually tell people, but we don't have a commonplace to send notices out. A lot of people are using the Facebook group. If you search for Second Life Music, you'll probably find a few groups, specific ones for each jams and generic ones. So it is fairly hard to find. That's why I wanted to mention it during your show.
Well, now, it sounds like, and this is probably something maybe some people in the audience or some people who are going to be watching this online may wonder, from what you're describing, it sounds like you guys have this very great grassroots, intimate setting where people are able to get up close and personal with performers, and performers can get close to fans. Now, is that the way you want it to stay, or is there openness to, let's say, someone saying, wow, this is great, let's blow this up to where it goes from being this sort of intimate gathering to where it's this much larger event with a big stage and maybe not people being as close and personal, but bigger? Is that a plus or a negative if it goes in that direction?
Well, since you're asking my opinion, since I'm the only one here, I'll say that would be a huge negative. The plus of this, and some of them are larger than 100 people, some have been as small as 20 to 25. I say that if you go to a jam with 40 people or less, you leave with 39 new best friends. If you go to a jam more than 50 people, you met a lot of people, and you go home with a few new friends. The smaller ones, at the end, people are almost crying as they leave because we've been more or less living together, living the dream, for 48 hours or longer together. So to me, this is a case where smaller is better. And my standing comment is, this is the most fun you can have with your clothes on.
Red Bull or somebody like that wants to get their corporate hands in this and say, wow, this is great, let's spend some money, let's blow this up, may take away from the intimacy and the genuineness that you guys have created. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, of course. Remember, there's 2 points of view. From a musician point of view, they want to have as much exposure as possible. That's why so many successful musicians using multiple vehicles to promote themselves: Reverberation, SL, Real Life, Facebook, Twitter, etc. So from a musician point of view, I'm sure some of them would disagree and say, I want to have the biggest fan base possible. I'd love to have 200, 300, 400 people there. But then it becomes a concert, not a jam.
Gotcha. Well, I got to tell you, incredibly fascinating. And I would be disingenuous if I didn't tell you this type of conversation really starts the wheels turning and just gets the excitement going. Think about just the unlimited possibilities here in SL. And I hope that we can take what you're doing and what our guests are doing and let people here know how much is going on, how much they're missing if they log in, go to one place, log out because they're bored. Because this is truly, as corny as this is going to sound, a world of pure imagination. And the sky's the limit. And I want to thank you for being a facilitator of that, along with other creative souls who are making that possible. Will you come back, Gwampa, and just keep us updated, let us know what's going on so that we can participate and support in our own way?
Be very happy to do that. And also, as I mentioned, we do stream video. You're a TV station. Perhaps there's something we could do together.
That sounds exciting. And can you please, if there's any contact information, and you may have hit it once, please hit it again in case somebody wants to get involved.
Well, again, the website is, the Facebook group that many of us use now is SL Live Music Jams. If you search for that group, or just search for groups there, you'll probably find it. That's the generic clearinghouse where people will talk about the jams, the schedule, upcoming ones, and then each group generally has their own.
Well, for anybody who wants to get involved in this, that's exactly, I guess, the starting point for them, right, Gwampa?
Yes, that would be a good way. Again, it's a good way just to see what's up and coming and then find a particular group and talk to people going. Each one, again, is very different because the person who runs it gets to decide what they want to do. We've had big ones, small ones. We've had ones with catered food. Everyone's a little unique.
Gotcha. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing this and getting me very amped about all the things that are going on. And I also want to thank the rest of the guests, Chriscloud, as well as Kaljah and Shane. And please, everyone, if you are looking for something that's on, popping, something that's happening and exciting, if it's Spotlight worthy, we are going to have it here on Spotlight TV. Gwampa, thank you for being with us today. And audience, thank you. And those watching online, we thank you. And
Goodbye. Bye. Bye-bye. Goodbye. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Goodbye. Bye. Bye-bye.